All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So Joe Rogan torched Donald Trump on his immigration policy in this clip right here. And I watched it, and I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this, okay? Because at the end of the day, I don't think Rogan is wrong at all in what he said here. And I don't want to step on it because we're going to get into that in detail in the last segment of the video. But we have a lot more important things to talk about, to be perfectly honest. You know, it's like, this is like, you know, oh, it's more important than people having their families ripped apart due to the fascist immigration policy. Yes. Significantly more important than that. Yes. Okay. Because yesterday, all right, the story that we're actually going to go through here is going to have to do with the ceasefire that Trump called for last night, the Nobel Peace Prize he was nominated for immediately after, the two sides violating the ceasefire immediately after, and then Trump going ham on national television today and saying neither country knows what the fuck they're doing. So let me lay out the order we're going to do this in, okay? So we're going to go through the ceasefire announcement, exactly what was said, because he laid out exactly when everybody was going to ceasefire. Then we're going to go through what happened between the two countries after the terms had been set to the entire world, okay? And then you guys can decide who's a good guy. You know, or like which side seems to have been less actually operating in good faith than the other, you know, and I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think in the comments. Okay. And then honestly, we just need to note the fact that Trump was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. He is trying to make a peaceful deal here. Okay. He absolutely is. Now, I assume that everybody has to be speculating on how he believed that bombing the nuclear facilities would lead to peace. I have a hypothesis, okay? I have a feeling that Israel told them that in order for them to entertain the peace deal, they need those nuclear facilities gone, right? And so consider that as you are evaluating what happened here with the ceasefire, because I would consider us agreeing to drop bunker buster bombs on the Iranian nuclear facilities to be a really, really big concession on our part, in which case, if you did not live up to your side, that would be a pretty big problem for anybody who's keeping score here. And Trump has made very clear he is furious with Israel, okay? He says that in this thing that we're about to look at, in addition to saying they don't know what the F they're doing, he is super mad at Israel, and he talks about that. Because at the end of the day, I have been seeing a lot of stuff about how, we didn't get the uranium. You know, we missed the uranium. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. But hypothetically, if we took out their entire infrastructure for creating more or doing further enrichment of the uranium that they have, that seems like a pretty big deal. Now, after we look at the details of that, we're going to go to this because Donald Trump absolutely eviscerated AOC and some of the other dumbest people in Congress. That's his quote, but certainly accurate. And then after that, we're going to finish up with Rogan going after Trump's immigration stuff. So buckle in. It's going to be a long and fruitful video with lots of fun things for us to discuss. Now, I saw a comment yesterday from somebody. By the way, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, if you haven't yet, that would be amazing. Comment what you guys think at any point. Comment multiple times, dude. Tell me what you think throughout all the different segments, but definitely 100% like this video if you are on a device that makes it easy. Somebody said to me yesterday, they were like, hey, I was about to turn this video off, and then you said we were about to have some fun, and so I watched the entire thing. So I think what he was indicating was that he likes watching me make fun of leftists, and here's the thing. I have a barn burner of a video coming later on that, okay, which is this thing right here, which is about a trans activist youth director getting caught on hidden camera discussing how he helps kids transition behind their parents' back. So that's another video that I'm going to do for today. Definitely watch out for that. And I'm also going to do some other libs of TikTok things to make fun of them. Oh, and then if you've been following the John Jones story, the body cam footage came out. So that is going to be a good time for all. So come back later and check that out. All right. So starting with the ceasefire, let's just quickly look at this because this is really important, right? He announces the ceasefire. He gets nominated for a Nobel Prize. But here's the thing, okay? So in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. Okay, so what I read right there, okay, is that there was a 12-hour period in which Israel was, like, there was 12 hours from when Iran was cutting off everything and then when Israel was cutting off everything, okay? I have a feeling that maybe that was some kind of weird concession that Israel asked for. They're all, we're going to stop until they prove that they will stop. So it's like, okay, fine. Iran agrees to stop here. 12 hours later, Israel will stop. And then that's that. Okay. So I think the most important thing to consider when you hear what actually happened here is, like, if you wanted to demonstrate that you were operating in bad faith, how would you do that if you're Israel? You know, like, how would you do that? Because if it's me, I would say that during the 12-hour period when you have gotten Iran to agree to no more firing, you launch some crazy, super huge attack on them that eclipses all of the attacks that you've done previously, right? Okay, that clearly is like, we are not operating in good faith, which is exactly what they did, all right? So listen to Trump here, and then we'll discuss this further. And this is where he says they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Dude, he is hot. He is hot. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Now, again, I don't try to get into the middle of why countries do who, what, or where, or who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. I don't do that, you know? It's just one of those things that, like, I can use common sense and look at a thing and go, wait a minute. You had a 12-hour ceasefire, and in that 12 hours when Iran is supposed to not be bombing you, you drop the biggest attack that you've ever done on them. Okay, like, clearly not really looking for peace, you know? And I literally was just watching Bernie Sanders on the Joe Rogan Experience today. Very interesting. You guys should check that out. And he's saying that the reason that Israel is able to just do whatever they want, okay, like they just do whatever they want with stuff like this is like directly defying the president of the United States. It's because anyone in Congress who steps up and says a thing like, as an example, Bernie Sanders actually put forward an agreement. That's the wrong word. Whatever. An agreement that said that we will not fund, we'll send no more weapons to Israel as long as they're continuing to bomb Gaza and hurting kids and women, right? And they only got 15 votes in all of Congress. And he's like, why do you think that is? And Rogan's like, because if anybody votes for it, their career's over. And he's like, exactly. That's exactly right. And so we're in a position where, like, I mean, this is just directly defying the United States. Like, obviously, if you drop, it doesn't matter if, like, oh, we still had 12 hours. Okay, well, if you're just, like, launch the largest attack ever, that's giving Trump the middle finger. It's giving the United States the middle finger. It's giving Iran the middle finger. It's giving everybody the middle finger. It's like, we are going to continue to fight no matter what. And you're like, I mean, why even pretend that you're going to do a ceasefire then? I'll give you a perfect example of what this is like, okay? So sometimes combat sports teams, so like jiu-jitsu teams or MMA gyms, whatever, like in the world that I come from, okay, there are sometimes personalities that do not get along and clash. And given the nature of the type of training that you guys are participating in, if you have a problem with a person, you know, sometimes it gets a little bit hairy. And so sometimes you have to have a coach or the owner of the academy or whatever who has to bring these two guys in and be like, look, no more of this, dude. You guys are a toxic culture in this place. So starting tomorrow, okay, this is the end of this. It's over, or else we're going to have a serious problem. And the two guys are right there and they're all fine. And they're all right, fine. And he was like, all right, good. So everybody calm down. Fine, shake hands. They're like, and then one of them goes into the locker room and, you know, takes a dump and puts it in the guy's locker, you know? And then the next day, it's like, what? Are you kidding me? We literally just had this conversation last night. And they're like, yeah, you said starting tomorrow. You said starting tomorrow. I did it last night. You're all, I said starting tomorrow, and you did. Does that make sense to you? Like you think that you're in the right here? You took a dump in his locker. Yeah, I did. But I did it before the ceasefire. So he shouldn't respond because we agreed. No responses. No responses starting today. So that's what that is. Now, let's talk some funny stuff here because I don't think anything is more hilarious than Trump lighting up AOC and some of these other nimrods in Congress. And then we'll get to the Joe Rogan stuff. So this is what Trump posted on Truth Social. First of all, look at how long this is. Okay, this is a huge post. He must have been mad, you know. Like it's funny because I can't really see him sitting there and type. I wonder if he voice dictates these or something. But anyway, nonetheless, all right. You know what's really funny to think about though? You know how like when you get into like writing like a long email that you're all worked up about or a long comment or a long, X post or whatever, and then people start trying to talk to you and you're like, hang on. Hang on. And then someone finally like breaks through your concentration. Obviously I'm doing something. Okay, that's like the story of my life, right? It's really funny to think about the president of the United States being there and they're, Mr. President, hang on. I'm torching AOC right now, okay? I can't do what you want me to do because I need to light up AOC and Ilhan Omar. That needs to happen. And I agree with him. All right, so this is what he says here. Okay, he says, stupid AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the dumbest people in Congress, is now calling for my impeachment, despite the fact that the crooked and corrupt Democrats have already done that twice before. The reason for her rantings is all of the victories that the USA has had under the Trump administration. The Democrats aren't used to winning, and she can't stand the concept of our country being successful again. When we examine her test scores, we will find out that she is not qualified for office, but nevertheless, far more qualified than Crockett, who is a seriously low IQ individual, or Ilhan Omar, who does nothing but complain about our country, yet the failed country that she comes from doesn't have a government, is drenched in crime and poverty, and is rated one of the worst places in the world, if it's even rated at all. Oh my God, dude. Come on. If you can't have a sense of humor about the world in general, you should get on my level. It's much more fun. Because I just like looking at these screeching lunatics and asking myself, what are they actually looking at? Like, what's the world that you see? How would this justify your fury? They're all, well, what about the Republicans who want to control a woman's body? It's my body. I'm like, you, ma'am, are a 50-year-old married woman, right? Yes. No one wants to control your body. What's that supposed to mean? Well, I'm saying like you're not going to have a baby, right? Like you and your husband, you're not going to have a baby, right? Well, no, my husband had a vasectomy and I'm 50, right? So what are you worried about as it relates to that particular issue? Why is that your number one issue that you're screeching about? Do you have any daughters? No, I don't. What? We don't have any children, okay? We're a progressive couple. We don't have children. So literally, what the fuck are you talking about then? Like what? I honestly, I don't understand. How is this that big of a deal for you? It has no effect on you whatsoever. Well, I don't like the idea of people wanting to control my body. It's like they don't want to control your body. Well, I don't want them controlling women's bodies. Well, they don't want to control women's bodies. They want to protect babies, Like I don't get involved in this topic, okay? I could see it both ways. This is one of those things like I can see it both ways. Like, hey, you advocates who want to, enshrine abortion. They don't want to control your body. They see your pregnancy as a baby they are trying to protect. Babies, those babies, little babies that people carry around. I know maybe you don't feel a maternal connection to them, but a lot of people do. And so they're like, yeah, you shouldn't be able to just go kill that thing to make it more convenient for your life. And you guys over here, I know you just see the baby, but this is actual person who has plans for their life. And in many cases, it was completely unplanned. They were irresponsible young kids. And bottom line is making them carry a pregnancy to term seems totally insane to them and a lot of other people. Okay. Like that. If it's an early stage, just leave them alone. But yet on this side, they're like baby killers. And on this side, they're like, you guys want to control my body. You're like, everybody just relax. Okay. Everybody just chill out just a little bit. Okay. Now, anyway, let's get back to this. Okay. So, The rated one of the how dare the mouse tells us how to run the United States of America. We're just now coming back from the radical left experiment with Sleepy Joe, Kamala, and the auto pen in charge. What a disaster it was. AOC should be forced to take the cognitive test when I just completed at Walter Reed Medical Center as part of my physical. As the doctor in charge said, Trump aced it. Meaning I got every answer right. Instead of her constantly complaining, Alexander should go back to Queens, where I was also brought up, and straighten out her filthy, disgusting, crime-ridden streets in the district she represents, and which she never goes to anymore. She better start worrying about her own primary before she thinks about beating our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer, whose career is definitely on very thin ice. She and her Democrat friends have just hit the lowest poll numbers in congressional history. So go ahead and try impeaching me again. Make my day. Dude. Oh, man. Come on. That's funny. He's the president of the United States. Okay. And he went ham on her like that, dude. I just think, I don't know, man. I find it very entertaining, and I think everybody else should find it entertaining as well. All right, so let's move over to the segment on Joe Rogan. All right, so this is so Joe Rogan actually said something very similar to this in a video that I covered on Play with Matches, Gabrielle and Mai's channel. If you haven't ever followed that, I say it all the time, but the link is, in the description, down below the description for this video. Play with Matches is the name of that. And we covered it because Rogan was, he was talking about family separation, and it was bizarre. And so we did a video about it. It turned out it was an old video. Okay. It was an old video that somebody reposted pretending that it was recent about Rogan's opinion on immigration. This one is very recent. This is something that just happened, and he's talking about the way that ICE is implementing these raids. So let's watch this thing, and then we'll discuss it, and then we'll look at some of the responses from people on X.
ICE raids are fucking nuts, man. Watching this protest on television, it's like,
Do you think the raids are nuts?
all of it's nuts.
I think both
protests
sides are
nuts,
taking it a little
the
too
raids
hard.
Well, I don't think if the Trump administration, if they're running and they said, we're going to go to Home Depot and we're going to arrest all the people at Home Depot, we're going to go to construction sites and we're going to just tackle people at constructions. I don't think anybody would have signed up for that. They said, we're going to get rid of the criminals and the gang members first, right? And now we're seeing Home Depots get raided. That's crazy. ICE raid.
So, yeah, I think that Rogan speaks for a large part of the base. Now, I don't know about necessarily the majority, but a large part of the base for sure is kind of like, hey, man, this is not what we signed up for. We them going into hotels and raiding hotels and finding, or those plants, those chicken processing plants, things like that. And they're going in there and then they're arresting all of these people who are working at chicken processing plants and then pulling them out of there and sending them home. Now, I understand both sides of this argument. It's very similar to the abortion one because I do understand both sides of this. Okay, on one side, you have people who are those should be Americans who have those jobs, right? I don't necessarily disagree with that. And on the other side, it's okay, we voted for them to go and find criminals who are human traffickers as well as these guys that bad guys, really bad guys. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to find the bad guys looking for work at Home Depot or having a full-time job that they show up for every single day, sending money back to Mexico, trying to create a better life for themselves and their families, and they pay taxes. People who are here and they had to cut a corner to get into the country, but what they've done for the last 5 years or whatever it is go to work every single day and get a paycheck and a W-2 and all that. It's kind of dude, why are we wasting our energy on them? You know what I mean? I don't know. To me, I will always fall back into the people are people are people. Do you know what I'm saying? It's I do not see a difference between a black person, white person, Palestinian person, Israeli person, whatever, except for where they were born, where they grew up. And it's our base models are all exactly the same. Okay. Now, if you're a gang member, if you're a human trafficker, as far as I'm concerned, we could change the policy to we round you up, put you into vats of acid, and that's the end of you. Okay. Like people who go around and they victimize people, and that's kind of their role in life. Like I have no sympathy for them at all. None. Like there's nothing I would not sign up for. Okay. I would be draconian with them. But people with families who are doing the best they can and going to work, contributing, working painstaking hours, like incredible number of hours a week, with their finger, like at these like manufacturing plants, their fingers, they all have it's just crazy. Like it's really hard work. I don't see the purpose of going and then rounding all of them up and shipping them out. To me, those are people that we want, right? Like those are people that we want. That's what we said. We said we wanted hardworking people, right? I think everybody's aligned on that, aren't we? Now, where Elon got into hot water with people had to do with the visas related to pulling a bunch of, Indian software engineers and then pulling them over because you could pay them less. And he said that they were used to working harder than Americans and whatever. Okay, that is a totally different issue. Okay, like you're talking about high skilled workers, which there are an abundance of in the United States looking for software engineering jobs. That I don't like at all, because those guys can do the software engineering work in India. Okay, like they could just do that over there. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't allow any of them to come over. We have families that we're friends with who are over on green cards and so on. Like it's what they go through is really nuts. Also, it's a really complicated issue. Really what my point is I think that people who come here and are living a family life, they're going to work, they're taking care of their families, they're not disturbing people, they're just doing their thing. I don't like us targeting them, period. Okay? But if you're talking about like the Haitians in that city over there in Ohio, it's like, dude, they've turned the city upside down. And why are there 20,000 of them there? With a 60,000 population? Like that's crazy to me. Like that's different. That's different. They're unemployed and they're sitting there getting checks from the government. These are not the same thing, right? We were looking at that when he was coming into office. We were looking at these programs where we were getting all these illegal aliens, putting them up in hotels and giving them free money, giving them cards that they can go spend money on while veterans are homeless. Like what is that about? But why are we going to hotels and finding bellhops that have been there for 6 years who don't have their paperwork in order and then shipping them out? I don't understand that. Why are we wasting any energy on that? That's not what we signed up. At least that's not what I signed up for. I'm not saying I would vote for Kamala. Give me a break, dude. Every dog has fleas, dude. And Kamala is nothing but fleas. Okay. The implementation of a program that I agree with being too draconian, nothing's ever perfect, but I don't think that what Rogan's saying is something that many people would disagree with. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. But, I'm open. Like, tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'm not going to get mad, Anyway, that's what I got for this video. Love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Bye-bye.